All right. So let's see what a more affluent town looks like. There's already one Tesla. I think there's another 2 Teslas coming up here. So I don't want to catch anybody again if I don't have to, but yeah, there's our second Tesla. And then at the very end there's a 3rd Tesla, trying not to catch that person. You know, if you're outside, you're outside, but try to respect people. See, Teslas galore. Across the street there's an Audi waiting to turn. There's a, I don't know, that's a Mercedes pulling in. There's a Mercedes pulling in there. Then we got another, I don't know, an Acura. And then a Mercedes and an Audi just pulled in behind me. Here's the Audi turning. So this is an affluent neighborhood here. Okay, this is an affluent city. This is not St. Catharines, this is Oakville, Ontario. Welcome to paradise. So I actually used to live in these buildings here, these little townhouses. I lived on the end there, the very far end. And yeah, they're pretty nice, but you can see these are what townhouses in this city look like. You know, much nicer than what you get in St. Catharines. But hey, you know, it is what it is. That is Canada for you, right? But this is, again, this is continuously ranked as one of the best cities in Canada, like in terms of quality of life, one of the most affluent. Ah, here, look, a row of cars, a BMW, a Lexus, and I think an Infiniti, or is that another Lexus? Or is it a Porsche? Yeah, it's 2 Lexuses and a BMW on a side street, mind you. Parked on a side street. On a side street, you have 3 luxury SUVs. Here is a typical neighborhood. Okay, like, again, here's the townhouses, and you can see them. You know, these are nice. I used to rent one of these. It was actually like a rent-to-own situation. This is an old retirement home. It's actually not that old, I should say. It's probably about 15 years old, maybe. Okay, there's a garbage truck coming by. I always seem to be around garbage trucks. I pick garbage days to do my videos. Here's, again, this is like a typical neighborhood in Oakville, Ontario. This right here. This is your typical standard kind of neighborhood. These are not big houses per se. These are very average. So I just wanted to show you guys. You can see most people have like just regular average kind of cars, but then you get like Infinitis and Mercedes as well, and another Infiniti, 3 Infinitis there. Just right in front of me, literally. It's incredible. Let's get across the street here. Yeah, just want to show you the contrast between St. Catharines and Oakville. And I spent most of my life here. Never lived in a house like this though. I always lived in bungalows and stuff like that, with balconies and yeah. All right, just taking some stuff here, looking around. Got to stop every once in a while when people are chatting, and you know, like, this is a great town. It's a great place to raise your family. But if you look like me, you're gonna notice that you're not really welcome. So it's a weird thing. There are people here with tattoos and stuff like that, but not as many. So I just want to turn that for a second. When you go to St. Catharines, or like Hamilton even, or like the Niagara region in general, Hamilton's not really Niagara region, but I would say it starts there. You're gonna see that people are much more blue collar, and this is a white collar town. It's a white collar city. The blue collar people tend to have a lot more body art. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm so accepted at the volunteer space, because I blend in with the people that I'm helping. A lot of them are as heavily tattooed as me, some of them maybe even more so, you know? Again, here, look, there's a Tesla, there's a Lexus, there's all kinds of souped up Hondas and GMCs, and look at these houses. Got movers. I believe that's a BMW there. Like, there's a Toyota minivan, but You're much less likely to see that in this neighborhood. Yeah, go this way here. Have a look at everything. Sorry if the angles are getting weird, but you can see across the street there. So those buildings in the far distance, those are newer townhouse builds across the street. They're all attached, obviously, and everything here that we're looking at is fully detached. But you know, you don't really see refuse, and the worst case scenario, the grass is kind of like not clipped as nice. You know, there's a recycling bin, but you don't see really any of the other stuff you saw in St. Catharines. Like even the grass is better, and the bus stops look better. You know, look, see that bell box there? There's something wrong with it. They put an attention sign in the building right beside me, where I live. Somebody got drunk and kicked it and broke it, knocked it down, and it's been like that for like a year and a half, and they don't have an orange sign on it. But yeah, just really beautiful neighborhood. Another BMW, another Mercedes, another Lincoln. This is where I came from. This is where I lived. And when I was in my band, everyone thought that I was like this spoiled rich kid because I lived here. But the reality is that we were on the lowest end of the spectrum of the income brackets. We were just here to like serve people and fulfill needs. And this is why I got trapped here, because it's so bloody expensive. It's nothing like the town I live in now, and that's expensive. But when I was paying for rent here and all my other bills, I couldn't escape. There was no way out because it's just simply too much. Now these homes are all probably worth about over $1 million, I'd say. These ones here, if not these ones, the ones further back that I haven't shown you, which are much bigger, but these would be close to $1 million. But I'm pretty sure that these are all about $1 million, if not more. I'd have to look it up. There's a car coming now. So I just want to turn over here. Don't want to catch the car. Yeah, you can see like what a nice, beautiful neighborhood, right? There's a new high-rise in the building, or sorry, high-rise building in the background. Can you see that? The black tip sort of peeking up over that tree right in front of me, right in the middle. That's a newer condo, very modern. Let's see if I can grab some other shots of some other areas, but this is kind of it. So the townhouse complex that you're seeing there, I used to live in that complex. That was the one that we were just in. That was one of the ones I was gonna, you know, purchase. I was renting to buy it, but it didn't work out. There's some more new builds that they have. You can see in the background. Those are new and unfinished. They're incomplete. There's a bunch of them. Luxury condos. That's another newer build there behind those trees. Kind of a shitty angle, sorry. But that's all like relatively new. This city needed that when I was here 15 or 20 years ago when I was a young man, and it just didn't do it. I was expected to be able to buy one of these in my 20s or 30s, early 30s, working a blue collar job. Didn't work out so well. Anyhow, I'll grab some more areas if I can. All right, so there's the plaza that I was walking by earlier, but you can see those buildings are a lot easier, the new kind of like condos. But you can see, like, look at how much nicer this retail space looks than any of the retail spaces I've showed you in St. Catharines. This is a much more affluent seal up there. There's another Hyundai, another Lexus, and I think that was another Lexus. I mean, you don't see anything old here either. In terms of cars, even if it's like just an average car, like a Honda or a Hyundai, you're not going to see older cars. Like, have you seen any old meters? So there used to be a homeless person that would hang out, I'm not even kidding, right over here. See that bus shelter? Sort of between the bus shelter and the end of the sort of tree there, that one tree before the gap. Yeah, there would be a homeless person that hung out there for a few days. Literally, it was a few days. And you might see that once in a while. I've seen it twice actually there. But that was about a year to maybe a year and a half ago. It's been a while. You don't see that too often. You're more likely to see people on the side of the highway here than anything.